Hello, Love 52. I'm Paul, and this here is the beginning of week 6. This is our 6th week together where we are loving. We are learning more about love. We're talking about love. We're simplifying. We're authenticating love. And I'm just so glad that we're doing this together. You know, we've been emphasizing, talking about the last 5 weeks, coming into the 6th week here, we've been emphasizing and talking about loving ourselves, authentically loving ourselves. And a reminder, the reason for that is so we are not dependent on others to love us. And so when we love others, it can be authentic. There have been times where I've said that I'm loving others, but really what I was doing was trying to feel wanted. There were times when I said I was loving others and I just wanted to feel like I was a good person, a good friend, a good dad, a good husband. There have been times where that has been the intention of what I was doing, was for me to feel something, to feel okay about myself, to feel connected. I admit it. And that's why we're talking here about authentically loving ourselves, so that when we love others, it's authentic, that it's genuine, that it's true, that it's sincere. Because those times that I said I was loving and really it was something else, I had expectations. I had expectations that I would see that people were happy, because then that made me feel good about me. I had expectations sometimes of reciprocation, because then that would make me feel important. I admit it. I'm guessing you have too. And so here we are, authentically loving ourselves so that we authentically love others. That benefits them and me, because I'm not setting them up to let me down. If it's authentic love, I don't have expectations for them to do anything. They don't even need to like what I just did for them. And there's no expectation, so there's no setup of bitterness and resentment, animosity. We're talking last week about forgiving ourselves, and we're going to talk about down the line soon about forgiving others. Yeah. Sometimes part of the reason we need to forgive others is because we set them up to let us down. We placed expectations on them. They didn't live up to them, partly because we didn't tell them. That's the problem with expectations oftentimes. We don't even let the person know what we expect from them. And then they don't do it, and now we're bummed out. We're negatively impacted. That was my doing. But we'll talk more about that. We talked last week, started talking about forgiving ourselves. I'm not here to tell you how to forgive. There's different processes. There's different ways people forgive themselves. Maybe it's based on your faith, or maybe it's based on your teachings, wherever it's from, whatever readings. So I'm not here to tell you how to forgive, but I'm here to emphasize the importance. There's a belief out there that everyone has baggage, right? You've probably said it. You may believe it too. I've decided it's a myth. Here's why. Because sometimes people have had the courage, the willingness, and the opportunity to open the bag and deal with what's inside. Baggage is not life history. It's not my life experiences that is the baggage. It's the emotions that I hang on to. That's the baggage. And you know what? We only have baggage if we choose to hang on. If I'm going to be feeling shame and guilt today for things I've done a week ago, 2 weeks ago, a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15, however far back, if I'm still carrying shame, guilt, it's because I'm choosing to. And if I'm carrying shame and guilt, I'm carrying judgment towards myself. And if I'm carrying that, I'm going to be using the performance evaluation as far as, do I deserve love? And I'm going to place that on the other people too. I'm going to be using performance evaluations on them because I'm going to be judging them too. Love can't be authentic if we're using a performance evaluation. Love can't be authentic. You know, and here's another thing. We wake up in the day. You woke up today, I woke up today, and we only have so much energy in one day. You're familiar with the word energy: interest, time, energy, and attention. Look, maybe you woke up and you feel happy, like her, Cindy Lou Who, and her friends and family, right? Maybe you woke up and this is how cheerful, this is how much energy you had. You know, wouldn't you like to have that? Or maybe you woke up and you're like him, and you put your energy and your time and your attention and your interest into bitterness and resentment, animosity, seeking vengeance, right? Maybe that's how you wake up, you know? But you wake up and you have a big full mug. Isn't that nice? Big mug. You get to decide where you're going to put, where you're going to invest your energy. Okay, maybe some of you are thinking, oh, I wake up and I feel like I only have a half a mug. Well, okay, here's a different way of looking at it. Maybe it's just a smaller cup. Maybe you only have a small cup of energy. I think if we change the semantics, it helps, right? Instead of thinking, oh, I only have a half a cup of energy. No, you have a full cup, but it's just smaller today. Maybe you didn't sleep well or whatever. Or maybe it's because you're investing energy into bitterness, resentment, animosity, guilt, shame, etc., etc. Sometimes we have a little cup of energy because we didn't sleep well. Maybe it's because we're hanging on to stuff that interferes, and we stay focused on these things: bitterness, animosity, etc., shame, guilt. So how can I be giving 100% of my energy and time and interest and attention? How can I give ITEA 100% in the moment? How can I be in the moment fully if I'm hanging on to that stuff? Look, if I'm feeling shame and guilt for things in my past, that takes energy. And I can't give all of my attention if I'm spending some of my energy on hanging on to shame, guilt, those negative emotions towards myself. How can I accept other people's forgiveness? How can I accept their love if I'm spending some of my energy on that? Look, you have one mug, you have one full cup, right? Maybe this is your work week. So you spend, I don't know, half, maybe a little more at work. Maybe you work 8 hours, 12 hours a day. I don't know your schedule. I don't know your profession, but you know, at least half goes there. Probably 3/4 goes into work. And then you got a quarter. Are you going to put that in your family, your friends, yourself, your faith, your hobbies, your interests? You know, maybe you say there's 3/4 goes to the work and being productive, and then, you know, a sliver, almost a quarter goes to yourself and friends and family and people who are important. Maybe you just say that you only waste a sliver. You only invest a sliver into that negative stuff. Why? I think it's a waste. Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't think it's a waste. You know, I ask people, when they're talking with me about shame and guilt and animosity, blah, blah, you know, that negative stuff, I ask them this question. And there's a number of people who do not like this question. I understand. But my question is, how much longer do you want to hang on to that? How much longer do you want to invest energy in hanging on to that negative stuff? I encourage you, if you're hanging on to negative things towards yourself, we'll get into talking about other people down the line. We're talking about ourselves right now and forgiving ourselves. How much longer do you want to hang on to the shame, the guilt, blah, blah, blah? Right? Now, chances are the answer is you don't want to. But oftentimes people ask me questions in return, such as, well, what would you do if you were me? I'd work through forgiveness. I don't say that because that sounds snarky. Or they ask, maybe it's about other people. Maybe they're talking about bitterness towards other people. And they say, well, don't I deserve to be mad at them? Of course you do. Don't I deserve to hate them? You deserve whatever you choose to hold on to, you do. Well, if it happened to you, you'd be holding on to this. Look, I've been hurt, I've been betrayed, I've been lied to, etc. I know. Maybe it was in a different way, but I know. But I know the liberation of forgiveness, I know that if I open my bag that has all my baggage and I deal with what's inside, I end up having an empty bag. And I'm not weighed down by the negative emotions. Those negative emotions are not interfering with me being in the moment. I want to be 100% present. I want to be in the moment because I've experienced it. Pardon me. I experienced it. I know what it's like to be 100% in the moment. I've worked through the baggage, my baggage, and I want to experience more often being in the moment. So, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? How are you going to choose to invest your interest, your time, your energy, and attention? How do you want to spend? How do you want to invest your energy? It's up to you if you want to. I call it wasting. You can call it investing. How much longer are you going to carry the shame and the guilt in your life for things you've done? Look, I said it last time and I'll say it again. Forgiveness is not a fun process. When I have forgiven myself, I had to identify the wrongdoings I did according to my morals and values, not according to yours. Your wrongdoings according to your morals and values. Whether I've used people, whether I've taken advantage of situations, hurt people, I've had to take responsibility for that. And to take responsibility, I had to acknowledge that which I did. It's not a fun process, but it's liberating. And it helps me be able to be 100% present because I'm not wasting energy and attention keeping those things at a bay, keeping them at a distance. I'm not doing that. Look, part of the conflict of forgiving ourselves is we want others to forgive us first. Well, the problem is that others might choose to hold a grudge forever. They might choose to, remain wanting vengeance. They might never get close to you, so you don't know if you've been forgiven. And sometimes we wait. We're dependent on other people first. Look, if you were seeking my forgiveness and I choose to hold a grudge, that puts you in a bind. Forgive yourself. Read books about it. Talk with people who have forgiven themselves. People who have, talk to them. It takes courage because you'd be acknowledging that you're wanting to forgive yourself. It takes courage because you'll basically either directly or indirectly be acknowledging that maybe there's some things you've done that you're not proud of. So I hope you have the courage and willingness. Look, I've been hearing some amazing stories about people loving others, and I'm gonna get permission so I can share that with you. I've heard great things about people loving themselves. I know some people who have been forgiving themselves. You know, when we forgive ourselves, not minimizing things. Forgiving myself doesn't mean I condone what I've done. Doesn't mean it's okay that what I've done. It doesn't mean it's okay that I did those things. Nah. Forgiveness means I take responsibility. I let go of the emotions. And I know people who are doing that. And they're experiencing the sense of freedom, the lighter shoulders. I want that for you. So whether you're loving yourself this week by forgiving yourself, or going to the beach, or going for a jog, or, you're reading, you're writing, you're going to your cafe, if social distancing, and if they're open, depends on where you live, keep loving yourself. Look, this is the season of giving. I don't want it just to be a season. Maybe it's the beginning of giving authentically. That's really what my hope is. Maybe the season of giving is really just the season that began your authentic giving. That can be ongoing and ongoing. I'll see you in a couple days, middle of the week, and keep loving. I'm going to keep loving, and I'll talk to you soon.